Good morning, children. Today I am going to start with vermicompost. What is vermicompost? Vermicompost is the excreta, which is a fine granular organic matter formed by the decomposition of organic material by the earthworm. It is an ideal fertilizer for the soil. Okay, vermicompost, it is nothing but when an earthworm decomposes an organic material, and this organic material turned into fine granular organic matter, and this fine granular organic matter is called a vermicompost. The vermicompost is an ideal fertilizer for the soil. Okay, next, what are the material we are using for vermicomposting? Okay, so there are biologically degradable organic waste are used as potential organic resources for vermicomposting. So for vermicomposting, we are using biologically degrading organic waste. What are the biologically degradable organic waste? Agricultural waste such as crop residue, vegetable waste, sugarcane trace, and crop residues such as rice straw, tea waste, cereal and pulse residues, rice husk, tobacco waste, coir waste, etc. are considered as crop residues. Leaf litter, fruit and vegetable waste, animal waste such as cattle tongue, poultry dropping, pig slurry, goat and sheep droppings, and biogas slurry. These are the various materials which are biologically degradable and used for vermicomposting. Vermicomposting by bin method. It is the rearing of earthworm in a container or bin. The container is half filled with bedding material such as shredded cardboard leaves, paddy dust, chopped straw, sawdust and manure. So, how we will do vermicomposting in a bin? It is the rearing of earthworm in a container or in a bin. So, as shown in the figure, you can take a pin. Under this pin, in this pin you can follow the methods of vermicomposting and do the costing. Okay. So, first what we will do, in the container we can fill into half. How to fill the half? By shredded with cardboard leaves, paddy husk, chopped straw, sawdust and manure. Small quantity of soil and sand is added to provide necessary grit for the worms. After that, we have to add a small quantity of soil and sand which provide necessary grit for the worms, and over that the bedding material should be moistened by adding water that enables a free movement of the worms. The worms are gently placed and spread evenly on the bedding. After the spreading of water, the bedding material should be moistened by adding water that enables free movement of worms. When you add the water, there should be a conditions of free movement of worms. The worms are gently placed and spread evenly on the bedding. Organic waste such as kitchen waste, vegetable and fruit waste are added, which are fed by the earthworms. So, after that we have to add the organic waste. Organic waste already we have discussed in the vermicomposting material. So, this organic waste may be kitchen waste or vegetable waste or fruit waste, we have to add on the bed. The bin is covered with coconut leaves or gunny bags to conserve moisture and provide darkness and keep out of pest. After a period of 60 days, the waste are completely transferred into nutrient rich material that are excreted by earthworm known as worm casting. These casting are harvested and used as organic manure. Okay, after 60, okay, we have done all this procedure in stepwise manner, and after adding of earthworm, within 60 days, the organic waste are turned into a complete rich nutrient material that are excreted by earthworm, and this excreted rich nutrient material excreted by earthworm are known as worm casting. This casting are harvested and used as organic manure. And what are the advantages of vermicompost? Vermicompost is dark brown in color and similar to farmyard manure in color and appearance. It is a rich source of nutrients essential for plant growth. It makes the soil fertile. Okay, vermicompost, it is rich source of nutrient and which are essential for plant growth. It makes the soil fertile and it improves the water holding capacity and helps to prevent soil erosion. And this organic material or vermicomposting improve the water holding capacity and helps to prevent soil erosion. It contains valuable vitamins, enzymes and growth regulator substances for increasing growth, vigor and yield of plants. So, it contains valuable vitamins and enzymes which are essential for growth and also containing growth regulator, and these substances help for increasing growth, vigor and yield of plants. And this vermicompost enhances the decomposition of organic matter in the soil. Vermicompost is free from pathogens and toxic elements. Vermicompost is free from pathogens and toxic elements. Vermicompost is rich in beneficial microflora also. Next, apiculture. Apiculture is the rearing of honey bee for honey. It is called apiculture. It is also called beekeeping. It is a profitable rural based industry. Honeybees are domesticated by farmers to produce honey. There are different types of honeybees are there. There are 3 types of individual in an honeybee colony, namely queen bee, drones and worker bees. These are the 3 types of honeybees which we can see in the honeycomb. First, about queen bee. Queen bee, the queen is the largest member and the fertile female of the colony. So, then the only fertile female in a honeycomb colony is queen bee, and it is the largest member of the colony also. They are formed from fertile eggs. The queen is responsible for laying eggs in a colony. Then drones, they are the fertile males. They develop from unfertilized egg. They are larger than the workers and smaller than the queens. Their main function is to fertilize the eggs produced by the queen. Drones, they are the fertile males. Drones are the fertile males. They develop from unfertilized eggs. They are larger than the worker but smaller than the queen bees. Their main function is to fertilize the egg to produce by the queen. So, next one is worker bees. They are sterile female bees and are the smallest member of the colony. Their function is to collect honey. The function of worker bees is collection of honey, look after the young ones, clean the home, defend the hive and maintain the temperature of the beehive. So, these are about the different types of honeybees which we can see in the honeycomb. And next one is varieties of honeybees. There are different varieties of honeybees. Indigenous varieties. What is mean by indigenous varieties? The honeybees which belongs to our native are called indigenous varieties. They are Apis dorsora, Apis florea, Apis indica are the 3 types of honeybee varieties which belongs to our native. Apis dorsata, commonly called as rock bee or wild bee. Apis florea, it is commonly called little bee. Apis indica, it is called as Indian bee. Next one is exotic varieties. What is mean by exotic varieties? The honeybee varieties which are exported from other countries are called exotic varieties. Apis mellifera, that is Italian bee. Apis adamsoni, African bee. Apis mellifera, it is an Italian breed. It is imported into our country. Another one is Apis adamsoni. It is imported from Africa and it is called African bee. Structure of bee home. The home of the bees is formed mainly by the secretion of the wax glands present in the abdomen of the worker bee. So, then the home of the bees is formed mainly by the secretion of wax gland present in the abdomen of the worker bee. So, home is constructed by the worker bees. The worker bees consist of secretion of the wax gland which are present in the abdomen. A home is a vertical sheet of wax with double layer of hexagonal cells. Okay. The home consists of cells called hexagonal cell and which are in vertical sheets of wax. Formation of honey. The honey bee sucks the nectar from various flowers. The honey bee sucks the nectar from various flowers. The nectar passes to the honey sac. First, the honey bees suck the nectar from various flowers. Okay. Next, after sucking, the nectar passes to the honey sacs in the honey comb. In the honey sac, sucrose present in the After that, the nectar passes into honey sac of honey bee. In the honey sac, the sucrose present in the nectar mixes with acidic secretion, and by enzymatic action, it is converted into honey, which is stored in the special chamber of the hive. Actually, the nectar sucked by the honeybees are stored in the honey sac in its body, right? Inside the honey sac, the sucrose present in the nectar. Actually, nectar consists of a sugar called sucrose. So, the sucrose present in the nectar, which is mixes with an acidic secretion and enzymatic action. So, this sucrose in the nectar mixes with the acidic secretion of the honey sac, and after that it has undergone enzymatic action. By enzymatic action, this is converted into honey, which is stored in the special chamber of the hive. Then quality of honey depends upon the flowers available to the bees for nectar and pollen collection. And products from the honeybee. Honeybees are used in the production of honey and bee wax. Other useful products obtained from honeybees are bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis and bee venom. These are the products obtained from the honeybees. Honeybees are used in the production of honey and bee wax. Okay. Other useful products obtained from honeybees are bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis and bee venom. Honey is a sweet, viscous, edible, natural food product actually. You know very well about honey, isn't it? Dextrose and sucrose gives sweet taste to the honey. Okay, name the substance which gives sweet taste to the honey. One is dextrose, another one is sucrose. The dextrose and sucrose are the substance responsible for the sweet taste of the honey. And it also contains amino acids, B complex vitamin, ascorbic acid and minerals. And apart from this sugar substance, honey also contains amino acids, B complex vitamins, ascorbic acid and minerals also. Then formic acid is a preservative in honey. Underline it. Name the preservatives which are present in the honey. Formic acid. Preservative means what? When you add some substance inside the honey, it will not get destroyed, okay, or it will not get spoilage. This is due to the action of formic acid which is present in the honey. Next one is invertase. It is an enzyme present in the honey. Next, uses of honey. You will get as for marcosine. Honey has antiseptic and antibacterial property. It is a blood purifier also, and it helps in building up of hemoglobin content in the blood. You know very well, hemoglobin consists of a red pigment which are responsible for the red color of the blood, and this hemoglobin build up by using of honey. If you want to increase the hemoglobin content in your blood, you can consume honey. It will be increase your hemoglobin concentration, and it is used in Ayurvedic and Unani system of medicine. It prevents a cough, cold, fever and relieves sore throat, and it is remedy for ulcer to tongue, stomach and intestine, and it is a remedy to treat ulcers in tongue, stomach and intestinal region. It enhances digestion and appetite. So it encourages the digestion and also appetite. Okay. So these are the uses of honey. Honeybee visits 50 to 100 flowers during a collection trip. Average bee, okay. So during collection trip, each honeybee can visit 50 to 100 flowers. Average bee will make only 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifespan. Listen, very interesting one. An average bee will make only 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. பார்த்துக்கோ, ஒரு டீஸ்பூனில் 12ல் ஒரு மடங்கு தான் ஒரு பீ வந்துட்டு ஆவரேஜாக ஹனியை செக்ரேட் பண்ணுது. 1 kilogram of honey contains 3200 calories and is an energy rich food. Same way, 1 kilogram of honey contains how many calories? 3200 calories and is an energy rich food also. Okay, next points to remember. Okay children, with this we have completed this lesson, and we have 2 more lesson. We will discuss it later, and today I will give a homework. Uses of honeybee. Yes, uses of honeybee. Advantages of vermicompost. These are the 2 questions I will give as a homework. Complete it and send it to me children, and I will start the new lesson in my next class. Okay, bye.